Hey guys, what is up? Fake New Records here, back again with another video. Today we are doing another Every CD I Own review. Today we're going to be jumping into more prog from the 90s. Actually, I don't think we have any prog from the 90s other than kind of Sabotage, I guess. But we're jumping into more prog from a classic prog rock band, Pink Floyd, and we're going with their second to last studio album, The Division Bell. Of course, this is the second album without Roger Waters, featuring the main trio, Nick Mason, Richard Wright, and David Gilmour. Of course, Gilmour taking most of the vocal responsibilities on this album, as well as doing bass. He did a bunch of stuff, slide, of course, and of course his great guitar work. Um, Overall, this album I know is a kind of a contentious one between fans, and I do like this album. I'm not a hater of this album. I will say though, this album kind of to me feels more like, I don't know. It feels less like classic Pink Floyd, like where I think Roger Waters went for more of that classic Pink Floyd vibe, or like the Wall kind of vibe with a lot of his albums. This kind of went more towards like, I don't want to say the final cut, but it definitely stepped into more of that softer, more jazzy, I guess, kind of Pink Floyd, which is prevalent in some of their older songs. But uh, this album definitely has some good songs, I would say, but definitely kind of almost held back a little bit by something like a little bit too much. I don't want to say like it's almost too much instrumental for me for this album because I feel like their older albums focus a lot more on, um, more songs with vocals, and of course we got one. I guess it's just two instrumentals. But I don't know. It feels like they take up a large part of the album for some reason, and maybe I'm just wrong there. But overall, it's still got some good tracks on it. What Do You Want From Me, which is really cool. A Great Day for Freedom. Wearing the Inside Out, which of course has Richard Wright as the lead on vocals, and then of course, there's some. Which one's the other one? I'm trying to remember. I think it's Keep Talking. It's pretty good too. And then of course the biggest song from this album, High Hopes. I don't really like Take It Back. I know that's one of the like singles they released on the album. And of course this album was released in 1994, well after the breakup, which I think was in the mid 80s. But I think this one strays away from more the uh, kind of the diversity on their previous album, which I really, really liked. I think this one is very baseline and it has not a lot of, I don't want to say baseline, like it just doesn't have a lot of anything but soft songs. Like there's not a lot of hard rockers like on A Momentary Lapse of Reason with like Dogs of War. And then like, I don't know, it just really steps into itself by just making it one kind of very, I guess, consistent album, but less diverse like other Pink Floyd albums, like The Wall. Even the final cut has a little bit more than that. But you do have some really good stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Richard Wright really goes off on this album. I think he's really good. Some of the solos are very, very good. Um, but I do think they fall honestly into a trap where they're almost using too many of the background vocalists, like the female background vocals. I think that's in too many songs, and it's too reliant on it. Um, and I feel like this album almost feels more like that 90s like U2 kind of soft rock band than it does a Pink Floyd progressive epic band. Even like High Hopes is a good song, but it's not like being like the epic on the track, I would say. It's not as epic as something, like Dogs or um uh what am I saying? I was about to say Metal. Um I know it's on Metal, dude. Why am I blanking on this song? The song title, dude. I'm gonna be looking like an idiot. Echoes. Jeez, dude. I'm sucking here, or like something like "Shine on You, Crazy Diamond," anything like that. Uh, but it's still good. It's not anything crazy. I do like this album, like I said. But there's some songs I just don't revisit because it sounds pretty like standard or very similar to other songs on here. Um, I will say, I I think it's just it's good, but it's not great. I think for me, it has to go in B tier. Honestly, it is tough, but I just can't say. Do I think it's better than some of these albums? Yes, I would probably say maybe here. I don't think the songwriting is like the best on here. Like I said, I think they get into a kind of a trap of wanting to be a more soft rock band with some jazzier elements and like some cool guitar work rather than being that bombastic Pink Floyd that we know. And I think that comes with Gilmore too overall. Like a lot of the softer songs of Pink Floyd, I feel like are David Gilmour centric songs. You know, something like "Comfortably Numb," which is a little softer. Even Dogs, he does like, um, well, no, I guess in Dogs he's kind of, I don't know. It's tough. It is tough. Animals is kind of just a a special album overall for the Pink Floyd catalog. But yeah, I think it's all right. Definitely, I like it better than this. I don't think it's maybe as good as songwriting as Neil Young, but I might put it above just for the, like, I prefer Roger Gilmore. Oh my gosh, David Gilmour's vocals, and I have kind of turned around a little bit with what's happened. I think a little bit too. Like, David Gilmour used to be my favorite like singer for them, or like my preferred. I just thought like Roger was kind of a bit too spastic and everything like that, and a little bit too like, oh, kick Richard Wright out of the band on the wall, screw that guy. But honestly, just like the way he's gone about, David Gilmour's gone about some things, I'm not as big of a fan of him anymore. And I think this album, compared to some of his solo stuff, even like the new his last solo album, like some of that stuff outshines this. And even though I do love this, like I love some songs on this album, like I said, the songs I love, I just don't think it's as good as any album up here. Maybe it's pretty close to Sabotage, and maybe Sabotage should be knocked down a tier at this point, but I still think it is slightly better and more cohesive and more, um, maybe not more cohesive, maybe more variety, which kind of goes in with the cohesion. Like it kind of blends well with the variety, where this is just kind of cohesive because everything almost sounds the same. Um, which, I'm not saying everything sounds the same. Like I said, there's some songs on here that are like, you know, cool, really cool jazzy tracks, but just not. It's just very soft and not very different, I would say. So, yep, that's gonna end up in B. Hopefully we'll get another track. I want to try and get a live album next, hopefully. So, if you guys want to stay tuned for that, keep up with the channel. I'm hoping to do a live album next, kind of switch it up, and we'll see how it goes from there. Thank you all very much for watching. If you guys enjoy the series, drop a like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell for more. But that's all for today, guys. Peace.